So, for today's class, we're actually going to be talking about components and styles, how to create components and styles. When we're designing, we want to maintain consistency. And how can we maintain consistency is when we have our components and styles created. Okay. All right. So, what are components? What are components and what are styles? Okay, so these are what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so components are actually reusable objects that and when we talk about reusable objects that maintains consistency or that we can continuously use as we design, so that the consistency of that particular design would be accurate. Okay, for example, what can be included in components can be your icons, components can be your buttons, and components can be your form, the type of form you want to use, maybe sign in, sign up. It will maintain that particular style and shape and everything. Okay, then styles are actually attributes that we apply to different objects. Remember, I told you components are reusable objects, so now styles are attributes that we apply to these reusable objects. Okay, so how do we create these things? We'll just go on with the class. We don't want to waste time today. Okay, so open a Figma file, and let's go ahead to see how we can actually create these components. Firstly, we'll be creating the buttons. Okay, firstly we'll be creating buttons. So where do we begin? How do we start? So let's say I want to create a button. Yeah, let's say I want to create a button. I take my rectangle tool, I draw my button, and I want my button to be rounded, so I'm using the corner radius. I'm giving it, let's say, a 92. Okay, and I want my button to have this color. I'm gonna write a text inside the button. Let's say I want it to be sign up. Yeah, so that's too small. I'm gonna increase it. So just go ahead and create your button. I want this to be white. This is white. And I want it to be thick a bit. So let's say semi bold. So yeah, I've created my sign up button. So how do I turn this particular button to a component? Okay. How do I turn this particular button to a component? I do so by holding grabbing the two of them. Remember how I told you to select the two of them by using shift or control, anyone. So when you do so, you come here. You see this component icon here. You click on it, so you create a component. When you click create a component, it becomes a component. You can see it says component there. You can always rename this components to be something else you want. Okay, then how do you use this component? Let's say you're designing and you need to use this particular thing, this button. Now you need to use it on a page. You come to your assets here. When you come to your assets, you see the components there. You can see it. you can see it is already created for you. It says the sign up. So how do you use it? You just come here, you drag, and boom, you put where you want it. Okay, you put where you want it. So imagine now that you have different components of this particular button, different variants of this particular button. How would you create different variants of this particular button with their names? How would you do so? Okay, let's see how we're going to do so now. So all right, so I need this button again. I need this button again. So let's say I group this, I've grouped this, and I want to control D it. And over here, I write sign in. I write sign in. I want sign in there. Then I want another one. Let's say this one, I want it to be explore, but I don't want it to, yeah. Oh, okay. So sorry. So sorry. So sorry. Can you say now? Yeah, I'm recording, but don't worry, I'll still go over. I'll go over it again. You should have unmuted yourself and told me that you weren't seeing it, so that I wouldn't have continued. Okay, if you want to call my attention, you unmute and you talk. Okay. All right. So can you see my Figma screen now? Can you see my Figma screen? You talk, please. If I'm here, I can't actually see your. Good. All right. Thank you. All right, so you all know how to create these buttons now. So let's just say we're creating buttons, okay? We're creating buttons and we want to make them components. So this was what I explained before. Let's say I want to make this explore now a button, a component. I come here after clicking on what I want to make component. I come here to this component here, this icon here, create component, and I click create component, okay? And that component is created for me. Okay, it's created for me. So how do I reuse this component? I come to assets. When I come to assets, I see what I have already created here. I can just drag it and drop wherever I want to use it. I don't have to start creating buttons as I continue designing, okay? Because I know before designing or before starting to design, I've created all those things, okay? That was what I was explaining. Now, let's say you want to create variants, different variants for these buttons, okay? Let's say you want to create different variants for these buttons. How do you do that? Hold on, please. Okay, I continue my recording. Okay, so yeah, so let's say I want to create different components for this particular button. So after grouping your buttons, you select all of them. Select all of them. When you select all of them, you see in this component icon, if you click on the drop down, you can see create component set. This component set will actually help you to have different variants of that particular component. And the component we're having now here is button, right? Our component is button. So it will help us have different variants of that component. So let's click on create component set. So yeah, so this is now a component. We can go ahead and name it. Let's say we name it button. You name a button. So in this button, you have different variants. This variant, and this variant. So we want to rename these variants, okay? We want to rename them. So you click on the particular one you want to rename. Let's say this one, this explore. You come here, you come to the right panel, and you see property, you see current variant, you see group 6. Group 6 is the name. When you click on this drop down, you see other variants there. You see group 5, group 4. So now let's rename them. Double tap and rename. You rename this one Explore because that is Explore. Then for this one is Sign In. You can rename it Sign In. Then this other one is Sign Up. Double tap and rename it Sign Up. Okay. So when you click on the drop down, you see all this has your button sign up, sign in, explore. So how do you use them? How do you use it? Still the same way. You come to your assets. When you come to your assets, you can see it is written there, button, local component. You see it's button. So you drag it out if you want to use on any particular screen, and you drop where you want to use it. When you drop where you want to use it, it always shows you, if you look at the right, it shows you the button, the property, and the sign up. This sign up is showing sign up because this is the first thing here. There are other things at the back. There are other variants and other buttons there that you can change to. So how does this work? You come on the drop down, click the drop down, and you see your other variants. You can use sign in. If you click sign in, it changes to sign in. If you click explore, it changes to explore. Are we following, please? Do you understand that? All right. So let's continue. So you can go ahead and create different. So how do you continue creating different components even after you've um, you've grouped it or you've made it a component? How do you continue creating other variants? Sorry, variants are inside components. Okay, let's not mistake it. So you can just always control D this. If you control D it, it comes down. It duplicates for you. When you control D it, it duplicates for you. Sorry, I need to expand this so that it's showing everything. Yeah. So you can see it says variant 4. We duplicated from explore, but why did you not carry that name explore? Because it is a variant. If you continue duplicating, it duplicates to variant 5, variant 6, variant 7. So you would have to name it yourself. Okay, so let's come here and name it. Let's say we want this one to be proceed. Proceed. So you double tap. If you want to rename, if you want to style this particular one, you double tap. remember when you click on this drop down, everything that is in that particular button shows. Okay, so you can double tap and rename to proceed, and make sure you try to align it very well. Then let's say for instance I want this to be a secondary button. Primary buttons are buttons that we always see on the side, that is the first type of button we see on the site. While the secondary buttons are the other ones that complement the primary button. Yeah. So let's say I want this to be a secondary button. Make sure you're clicking on the rectangle itself, the rectangle you want to style now. Okay. So I don't want a fill for this rectangle. I want it to have a stroke. So I remove the fill and click on the stroke. You all know how to do that. So I want the stroke to have the same color as the button we are using. So I'm increasing the stroke so that it's visible. I use the 12 so that it's visible. But you can see we can't see the explore, and that is because it's the same color as the background. So we can go ahead and change the explore to the color we are using, and the proceed, sorry, to the color we are using. So you can see we have another type of button. So this is how you create button. You can create different type of button. Okay, let's say I want to create another variant of this button. I control D this. When I control D this, I bring it down. Let's say I want this one to have a fill, but the fill, I don't want the fill to be as dark as this. Okay, so I can go ahead and click on the rectangle, the particular rectangle, double tap, click on the rectangle, and put a fill. See the fill button there, put a fill. Let's say maybe the second color you're working with is purple. mm, yeah, you could decide to work with purple or still the same color, but you reduce the fill of that particular color. Yeah. So let's say you want this one now to be get started, get started. You can always reduce the text. You can always reduce the text if it is bigger. So yeah, so you can see it. So that is how you create. And these buttons now, when okay, we've not named this one, it's still variant 5. I think someone is in the waiting room. That is good for you to join on time. Okay, so let's rename this. You click on it, come to your right panel, double tap on variant 5, and rename to get started. So you can see it's easy. It's very easy. You just keep creating your buttons any size you want. Let's say you want a smaller size of this one. You can you can go ahead and duplicate this and work with it. You duplicate it and you work with it. So what we're trying to reduce is the rectangle. We're reducing the rectangle. So you double tap to get the rectangle itself. Then you can hold shift and go ahead to reduce your rectangle to the size you probably want. Then you can reduce your text to, let's say I want this text to be shop now, shop now, and I want it smaller. So you can come here and reduce it. Okay. So you can come here and reduce it to shop now. So you can see this is how you actually create button component. So your component now here is button. You can continuously use it. You can continuously use all these things, and it maintains the same shape, the same size. It makes your work look very easy. So before you start designing, you create all these things down and you use them. So now the next component we'll be looking at how to create is the icons component. Okay, so let's go to our plugin. We go to plugin and we get some icons. Okay, let's say I'll be using feather icons, and I want to get some icons and use those icons. So it's still loading. The network has been dealing with me today because of the weather. So, but hope we're following. Are we following? You say we are trying. Now we are getting into the main product design. Just wait until I tell you to design 20 something screens for me or more for a particular project you're working on. So just be ready. If you're designing 20 something screens or more, you cannot be creating button one by one as you continue designing. You take your time, create all your components, even your text component, your text style, your color style, create everything. So once you're working, you just continue working with it. Yeah. Okay, so this thing is still loading. Why? Okay, maybe we could try another icon because I am not understanding. I don't want to use font awesome because it's actually very stressful. Okay, this is font awesome then. But you can hear me, right? I don't know whether it's my network that is having issue. Can hear me, Shay? Okay, okay. I think it's Figma that is giving me issue now. So let's just have a little patience and wait for it to load. Okay, give me a minute. Let me take water. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, font awesome loaded. So we'll get some icons and work with them. The reason why I don't like font awesome is that when you click on one, it actually leaves your screen and you have to load it again and click on another one. So you can see it there is very small. Increase it. Let me try further icons again if it will work because I really don't want this class to waste time so that we won't it's working so that we won't lose interest. All right, so let's go ahead and click on a lot of buttons. Hold shift, click, 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 and all, sorry, icons, I mean. Okay. So one thing you should know is that if you're using a particular shape or size of icon, try to maintain it so that you maintain consistency. For example, now this icon looks light, it's not really thick. So if you're using icons, if you choose to use the light ones, continue using the light one. And if you're using the thick one, you continue using the thick one. Okay, so this is something you should note. Let me keep. All right, so sorry for that. So these are all the icons I want to be using to show you. So you can go ahead and select all the icons and create component sets. Yeah, select all the icons and create component set, so you can see all of them here. Their names are there. So you go ahead and name this icon or icons, anyone. So you now have a component called icons, and on in that your component called icon, you have different variants inside. So how do you use them? You can come here, see icons here. You can drag and drop on any screen you want. You drop on any screen you want, and you come to the right the right panel, and you click on the drop down, and you see all their names there. You see all their names there, and you can change to anyone you want from there. Change to anyone you want from there. And good thing, you can also change the color. You come to the color and you change the color to the particular color style you're using for that design. So this is how you create your icons components and your buttons components. Okay, it is not hard at all. So when you've already created it, and as the design goes on, you see that you need a particular button that you need a particular icon that you need to add inside. How do you do it? Let's do this. So you go ahead and you get your icon. Let's see which one work. You go ahead, get your icon. Let's say I want this one, so I go ahead and get this one. So before I can actually put it together with this icons component or this variant, before I can make it a variant, I have to make it a component. So I click on the component. While holding it, I click on the components icon, and I drag it into this component, this icon folder. I drag it into this icon folder, and boom, we have that there. What's the name of it again, sef? This is the name, battery charging. So we have it there. So it joins It joins your, you can see it joins your variant. It's together with your variant. So as you keep adding like that, when you load your plugin, you get the icon, change it to components and drag it into the icons folder or the icon group, and it works. Okay, so you continuously use it. So this is how you create both button and um your icon component. You already know how to use the plugin, the matter color plugin, to get your style, your color style. But I'm still going to show you, if you're not using your plugin, how you can also get your color style. Okay, so let's say I have this. Let's say I have that, and I want to use this color. I want to use this color and I want to continuously use this color as I design. Okay, what do I do? So as it is highlighted here, I can go ahead in this fill panel. I go ahead, click on this plus icon. When I click on the plus icon, sorry, not the plus icon, sorry, this icon here, this style icon, click on the style icon. When I click on the style icon, I see this plus icon here. I want to add this color as a style. Okay, I click on this plus icon and it shows me create new color style. Let's say I want to name it um primary green, or any other name you want to give it. You go ahead and create style. Okay, you go ahead and create style. You can see it there. You can see it became primary green as the name, became a style. So when you click on this icon here, you see it's added to your style, your color style. See other, I use that matter color. When you use that matter color, this is what comes out. It generates your colors for you. So this I have added manually. Instead of using matter color, I've added it manually because it is something I want to continuously use. So this is how you create your color styles. So how do you now use this color style? How do you use it? So let's say I have a shape or a button or any one. Okay, I have a shape or a button or any one of them. I can come here after drawing it. I come to this style icon, and I open it. When I open it, all my color style comes out, and I click on the one I want. If I want to change it, I can click on it and use any of the color styles I've saved. Yeah. But if the color I want to change it to is not saved, how do I change the color? You come here, you see this icon here that looks like a link. It says detach style. You can go ahead, detach the style, then it shows you the normal color code and the styling and everything. So you can go ahead and change it. When you click here, you go ahead and change it to any of the color you want. Maybe you've not added it as a style. Yeah. So let's say I want to add this one as a style. Let me just do it again so that you understand. I want to add this as my style, my color style. I go ahead, after highlighting it, I click on this style button, and I click on this plus icon, create style, and I go ahead to name it. Let's say I want it to be my best purple, or whatever you want to name it. So yeah, you've created a style. Okay, if you come to this place, you see the green you created before, and now this purple. So this is how you create your style. Okay, this is how you create your color style, and you can continuously use it in your design to maintain consistency. So now when it comes to effects, you can also create effect style. You can create effect style, you can create stroke style. Yeah. So let's say I want to add an effect to this particular thing here. Okay, let's say I want it to be white, and you can see it's white. So because it's white, it's actually not showing. So let's say I want to add an effect, maybe a drop shadow or something. So I click on effect. After clicking on effect, when you go ahead, you style your drop shadow how you want it to look and everything. You can go ahead, style it to how you want it to look. You want it to pop out and show very well. Yeah, so let's say I'm done styling that and it's showing. Yeah, so how do I add it as a style so that I can continuously use that particular effect? You can see it here. So I can use this particular effect on any box or thing I'm using for that particular design. You see this same styling panel, this same styling icon. You click on it. When you click on it, still the same way, you click on the create style or the plus icon here, and you go ahead to name it. Let's say I want it to be card shadow small, because it's small. Go ahead and create style. Yeah, so you can see it there. You can detach it or not if you want to see other ones you have, so that you can change. This is where you click and you see it. Let me use another one. Let me show you how to use this particular. Okay, let's say I want to add this style to this particular circle here. How do I add it? I come here to effect. On effect, I click here, and you can see it's card shadow small is showing. I click on it and boom, it's there. It's there. So it's showing, but you might not see it because it's purple, not white. So you can go ahead and create different effect styles, and you continuously use it as you design. Okay, continuously use it as you design. So how do we create our text style? The text style is actually very easy. Firstly, you have to maintain a particular typeface when you're designing. Maintain When we're talking about typeface, we're talking about the text, the type of text you're using. We have typeface and we also have fonts. So you have to maintain that particular typeface and use or make use of the font styles it has. So let me go ahead and type something. My header. So when you come here, so I'm using Inter, and let's say for Inter, I'm making use of semi bold here. The font I'm using for Inter is semi bold. Then when you come here, you see different. You have 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, so you just go ahead and work with these particular numbers you have. So the highest number here I have is 128. So I can go ahead and click on 128, or if I want another number, I can do that. It depends on what you are designing and how big or small you want the text to be. Please, are we following? Are you guys following? All right, all right. Okay, so yeah, so this is the first one. So you can control D, you bring it down, and you go ahead, change the number to the other one. You control D again, control D. Let's just control D, control D. Yeah. So this one, you can come here, change the number. This one, you come here. What is the number? We've done 64. This 48. You come here, you change the number. This 40. You come here, 36, you come here and 46. So we've done 36, right? So 32. So like that, like that, like that. That is how you continuously. So this is how you create your. So let's say this is our H1. This is our H1, and let's say this is our H2, and this is our H3, and this is our H4. So like that, H5, H6. Yeah, I think we only have from H1 to H6. H6, H5. So this is our textile. This is our textile. This is the manually done textile. I'm going to send a plugin to the group that you can actually use to get. It can be very easy for you. It generates all these things, so you just go ahead and use it. So how do we use this particular textile? So let me group everything. Let me group all this, or you can frame it. So how do you frame? You right click. When you right click, you can see frame selection. You can click on frame selection and it is framed for you. So you can go ahead and name it my text. Yeah, so this frame has different variants inside it. So how do you actually use it? How do you use it? So let's say maybe you're designing and you want to write something. So you go ahead and write good good is bad. Okay, go ahead and write good is bad, but you want it to be this size and you don't want to start looking or trying to remember the number and the rest. Okay, so you can just come here, you hold alt or you control D this particular header that you want, bring it to wherever you're designing, and you double tap and go ahead to write what you want to write. That is how you actually use it. The text on is not something that is very complex as the others. So yeah, this is how you use it. So when I send the plugin, I'll expect you guys to install the plugin and you go ahead and use it. So your assignment for today's class would be to create components. I want you to actually create components. For the buttons, I'll give you a particular number of buttons. Create them in different colors, create them in different sizes, but it should be that particular amount of number. I can give you 20 buttons to create. Yeah, so you go ahead and create your buttons. Then you also go ahead and create your icon component, and you also go ahead to create your header, your text component, your text style, and your color too. I already taught you how to use the plugin, but in this assignment I don't want you using the plugin. I want you to manually do it yourself. So you will manually create over 20 colors for me. For your style, you create over 20 colors, and I want to see that in your Figma assignment when you submit, and you're submitting this on or before Wednesday. So I saw your assignments that you submitted, and I'm actually very glad you guys are getting the hang of it. And I can see your designs are actually coming up nice and looking well. Your mobile designs actually are beautiful. So I'll correct some things. I haven't gone through all of them, so I'll correct some things. So look forward to the comments I'll make on your Figma file. and try to improve on them. When you improve on them, tell me you have actually improved on them, so I'll check it and know if you did well or not. It is actually for your own good, so that you know if you're progressing or not. Disturb me to check your design. If not, I might forget and I might see you as not being serious. So for those who haven't been submitting their assignment, it is for your own good. I'm waiting for your assignment. Do it and let me vet it to know. This class is I think we're in the third week. So our next class we're actually going to be starting our prototyping, and we'll do a little bit of user research, so that in the next class be we would be actually starting a project that will submit as our graduation for this particular class. Okay, so let's be gearing up for that. Let's be gearing up for that. So, do we have questions? Do you have questions? I'm waiting for your questions. Do we have questions? Ask me questions pertaining to what we just learned, pertaining to what we've been learning. Or if you want to private chat me with your questions, go ahead, private chat me. If you want to ask questions in the group, you can go ahead and ask questions in the group so that people will learn. So, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So I want to believe that you have no questions. So in the absence of no question, we are going to end the class. Okay, you say we'll also learn about connectors. Yeah, in prototyping you learn about connectors. So just wait. If you maybe you already learned it, good for you. I'm happy for you. Continue watching YouTube videos and it will actually help you to prepare for the class. Always aspire to be better than whoever is teaching you. That is something that will help you if you have that kind of mindset to help you. So, are we good to go? Are we good to end the class? Okay. So I'm going to type your assignment and how many number of variants you're creating for the icons component, the buttons component, the text and the style. So I'll send that, and I'll also make this video available tomorrow, not this night, so that those who came late can see how we started. I said I should send the recording tonight. I'm not sure about that because it has to take time to download and process. Yes, network is actually very bad. So tomorrow the recording will be ready. Thank you all and good night.